Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now. I'm a ghost, I call your name, you look right through me. You're the reason I'm alone and masturbate. I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. I'm out and all the time. I'm out and all the time. Perfect and safe. Example of the perfect and safe. I'm out and all the time. Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now. I'm a ghost, I call your name, you look right through me. You're the reason I'm alone and masturbate. I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. I'm out and all the time. I'm out and all the time. Perfect and safe. Example of the perfect and safe. I'm out and all the time.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Ricky. Are you there?
I am. What's going on?
How do you like our new room?
Pretty sweet.
Just wait. It's going to get even more interesting as we go. I've got to get it right, though. Okay, there we go. Oh, God. So what's going on? What are we doing? Conspiracy theories tonight, right?
Yeah, getting a little crazy.
I'm tired of being serious. It's time to be a little bit more silly. Oh God, what was that? See, I haven't watched this entire thing yet, so I'm not exactly sure what's going to be happening on the screen.
All right.
So I'll be just as surprised as everyone else. I know a few things that are going to be happening.
Well, sometimes the
oh God, there's a little girl. There's a little girl in the corner of the room. Oh my God. Oh, so how's your day been? How's your weekend been?
Too bad. Just doing the same stuff, working on school stuff like last time. How about you?
Well, my birthday was Friday.
Yeah.
So, Jesus Christ. I'm 35, so I'm 35 now, officially. And then today was Mother's Day. So, I chilled all weekend and did pretty much whatever I wanted to.
There you go.
Just hung out and watched and went through quite a few different crazy conspiracy videos. and came across a few interesting ones, but also some pretty just like, what the hell, people. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Is there a problem?
No. Oh, I'm watching this feed. This is the inner workings of my husband's mind. We may become terrified at some point, I'm guessing. So, what conspiracy theories did you come across? I mean, we all have the typical 9/11 ones and Illuminati and stuff like that, which I do have videos for that.
Nice. I got one of David Icke, this guy that calls himself a philosopher, but he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really just nuts. But he's got this. He's one of the wizard people, the reptilians. Is one of the things he's into.
Oh
So.
no, you're kidding.
Yeah, I found a couple clips of him. Hopefully, he won't. He tends to get a little boring, so hopefully that won't happen too much. But it'll be fun.
Oh. Well, usually the people who are checking us out are not going to be the people who get bored easily.
It'd be hard to get bored with this dude just from the content alone. So.
Okay. Well,
So we got.
let me grab the link from you from Twitter. Did you send it to me on Twitter yet? The link? Or no, I was sending you a link. Good God.
Yeah.
Let me
I
get
got
my,
that
let
up.
me get my head on straight. So, what is there any backstory behind this guy that we should know about?
Not really. I mean, he'll explain everything. I mean, other than he loves to get into conspiracy theories and takes them seriously. Yeah, I mean, well, we want to do yours first, correct?
No, we can go ahead and do this Ike guy first real quick. Just knock him out of
Okay.
the way if you want to.
Sure.
The stuff
yeah.
I'm going to bring up, it's 9/11. It's
Okay.
the GMO stuff. I want to do the GMO stuff for later because it's, it goes into a little bit of detail and like science and stuff. So I thought let's do that
Right.
one last because it's going to take a bit of effort on both of our parts, I'm sure.
Okay. Give me just a second here.
Okay, that's fine. So have you seen the Lacey Green stuff that happened over the past couple days?
Oh, yeah, I've actually tweeted out at her a little bit.
So have I. I've done the same thing. I'm very excited for her, and I'm very impressed with her giving the bird to everybody that's supposedly
Yeah.
feminist and giving her a hard time. Pat on the back for you, girlfriend. Definitely. You're headed in the right direction. I hope you keep going that way, and just talk to people. Don't stop shutting people out. It doesn't.
Yeah, you know what? Like, even if she stays, like as hard into the stuff she was, at least it's awesome that she's not, like, she refuses to be in an echo chamber anymore.
That,
Plus-
yes, that's definitely going to be the good thing.
Well, it's really telling that that's what pissed everyone off, like, in her camp. Like, Steve Shives, I was making fun of him because he was ranting to, well, himself and then the YouTube and Twitter bots. And that was one of his main complaints, was she was like cozying up to the anti-feminists and accusing her of kind of like, what did he say? Something like, if you can't beat him, cozy up to him, or
Yeah.
something ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it's like, there were a lot of people being like, yeah, see how your so-called friends just turn on you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
that should be a sign. Anyway, so yeah, I tweeted out at her a few times basically saying, even if we don't agree, props to you for, being willing to at least hear other points of view and all that. So.
On her YouTube video, I put in the comments, welcome back to the discussion. I'm glad. Welcome back to the discussion, and I'm glad that you're back. Because I used to watch Lacey Green, just like with her Sex Plus stuff, when it was just strictly like Sex Plus, and no feminism stuff, nothing like that.
Okay.
And then she all of a sudden made that sharp left turn, and then I was like, "Whoa, girl, you need to calm down." So, and
I actually considered subbing to her. I'm still kind of thinking about it, just to see, because like sex ed's important to me personally, and if she's going to have conversations with people that are sort of in our circles, or maybe just not be as intolerant, it might be good.
when it comes to the sex education part, if you're not getting into gender and all that stuff that comes along with the usual feminist argument, then she's normally pretty accurate. I mean, if you go and check her sources and stuff like that and the science behind it, she's usually pretty accurate. Now, of course, I'm not talking about the gender discussion because that's a completely different story.
Well, you know what, to be honest, I'd be very surprised if she stays in that, sort of firm position.
And that's why her people are freaking out.
Right. I mean, like, she's one of their big people, so they think they're losing, whatever.
And why would they think that? Because they think they have a weak argument, maybe?
Yeah, well, that's something I almost tweeted out because it was Shives, and he was talking about. I really wish I could remember how he worded it, but it's in my freaking timeline or whatever it's called on Twitter. But the way he worded his bitching about her being open-minded was kind of like a subtle, tacit admission that their sort of side, if you want to call it that, is losing.
Yeah. Yep.
And the salt is just ridiculous in the whole SJW type camp or whatever. But anyway, so as much as like at least I couldn't stomach a lot of her older content just because of the severity of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's lightened up, and this thing, like, to me, this is showing she's willing to be like mentally flexible, and that's why I say I'd be surprised if she stayed in the camp that she did, even if it's not like, maybe she'll stay there, but it won't be as extreme.
Yeah, to the severity as to what it is at the moment. Good God.
One other thing that was predictably obnoxious too was they basically accused her of shilling.
Yeah, I know. Like, no, the woman's actually attempting to try and engage with other people other than an echo chamber, and that's admirable, especially from an SJW side.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't possibly be just being a decent person. You're a traitor that just wants money. Really, that shows your true colors. Okay,
well, I finally got this one pulled up. Got the clip pulled up, so if you're ready, I'm ready. All right, so I've never seen anything about this guy or on this guy that I can think of.
So I got a few minutes into this. If you want to skip around, you go for it.
Okay.
Isle of Wight is a world within a world, with Freemasonry and Satanism at its center. The ancient ley lines scoring the landscape make it a powerful spiritual hub.
I think the plan is he's going to show us this stone, which is part of a old stone circle. It's the main one where apparently satanic rituals happen on a regular basis. So this is a place here then where you think these rituals, or these rituals.
These rituals definitely go on at this place up here.
Is this?
It's called the Long Stone. In fact, there's two stones. One's on its side and one's standing up, and it's a beautiful walk this direction.
Let's go. After you,
cheers,
sir.
mate. It opens out eventually, and you get a fantastic view. It's interesting when you look at the traits. This is mainstream science. When you look at the traits of what we call the reptilian brain, reptilian genetics, which we all have. One of the traits is an obsession with ritual. So when you look at all the pomp and ceremony of the royal family, with Buckingham Palace and all this stuff, and all the ceremonies and the guards and the horses and the colours, you're looking at ritual.
But you say that the people that actually live on the island are part of this. There are people, there's a network on the island that are...
Big time. I mean, the Isle of Wight's a beautiful place, and if you pick up the higher levels, the vibrational levels of it, it's a very pleasant place to be. But my goodness me, there is a network of Freemasons, Satanists and pedophiles that run this island.
And this is
they run its
police,
government,
the government,
oh,
everything. So we're almost here at the top.
Oh,
See the
nearly.
long, there it is. The long stone.
There we go. It's funny, you know, you come on a day like this. It's a nice day, and there's families around, and you see these stones. You could see these on May the 1st, Halloween, that kind of, in these ritual periods of the year.
And you'd be a totally different story.
You would see something very different
So
here.
this is the center point of this energy then,
Yeah.
that they're trying to tap into.
What they would do, among many other things, you'd have them in their robes and hoods all around here, and you probably have, you would have the sacrifice on the slab
This is
here.
the altar.
This is their altar, yeah. And what they're doing, it's horrible, but let's get the truth out. What they're doing is manipulating the sacrifice. The sacrifice knows the sacrifice is coming, and who's going to help them? Look,
Right.
at midnight or something. No one. And what they then do is they sacrifice the victim, and they drink the blood immediately, which has this chemical substance in it. And they go crazy. I mean, you know, I've talked to people who've been at these rituals, and how once the sacrifice happens and the blood runs, these people go crazy with blood. There was a man called Stanley Kubrick, the great filmmaker.
I think I've heard of him.
Stanley Kubrick was an insider, and he wanted to expose it. And his last movie was called Eyes Wide Shut.
I've seen it.
Now, Eyes Wide Shut, he died very, very soon after it was presented to executives at the film company, and was given no fanfare whatsoever when it
Didn't
came
they
out. It
re-edit
just
the hell
disappeared.
out of it as well?
Yes, they did. They took 25 minutes out of it.
It was a shit movie.
I actually didn't watch it. It looked so bad in the
Oh
preview.
God, it's awful. I think I made it about 45 minutes into it, and it was just so weird. I was like, I can't. It wasn't creepy, or it was just like, what in the hell is going on?
To me, it looked like it was a combination of a terrible plot and I can't stand Tom Cruise.
Yeah, there you go. But it was just strange. It was supposed to be based off Nicole and Tom's relationship.
Yeah, I don't know if that was actually the case or if that was like
rumor or some shit. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I think that was during the time where she was going through the whole Scientology thing, which is kind of.
I think they released that movie and then they filed for divorce like 6 months later, I believe.
Yeah, which to me, like, hey, maybe if you want, we can pull some Scientology into this because there are elements of it that are kind of conspiratorial. So.
All right, let's let him continue. This should get good.
Of it, which he refused to do. Now, he filmed a ritual with Tom Cruise in it, in which I only know more recently was a Rothschild mansion.
Okay, people, pay attention. Rothschild. That's a word. Pay attention.
And what he filmed is a mild version of what goes on, because he knew. And you had the colours. You have most people in the ritual in Eyes Wide Shut were in black. The main guy was in red. Here we go again.
Yeah.
You had the orgies going on, and you had the people being killed, the lady being killed. But that was such a mild version. I don't know what was in the 25 minutes they took out, mind, because the real version is that there's blood everywhere. We see a hierarchy in the public arena of president, secretaries of state, of prime ministers, secretaries of state, down.
Yeah.
That's the public hierarchy. The real hierarchy in the shadows is the occult hierarchy. And if you're higher in the occult hierarchy, the satanic hierarchy, which is incredibly hierarchical, it's all hierarchical, then you have more power over someone higher than you in the public hierarchy.
You know, people familiar
man,
with your
try and
work
pause
would
it,
know
go back to
that
that,
you've made some predictions
chart,
over the years.
if you can.
Oh, sorry. I didn't untick the thing so you could control it. Here.
Okay,
There you go.
I got control. Just try and get to it, and then pause it when it's as wide out as you can before it starts to sort of zoom back out of the visibility.
Okay. There?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I'll make this bigger if you can.
Yeah.
Not you. What? Well, oh, okay.
I can make it bigger.
Okay.
Full screen.
See if we can look at this.
Dang it. I'm trying to.
It's fine if you want to put it just like right before this, before they zoom back. It's pretty illegible.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, good. All right. So what are we looking at? Or you want to start it from there or just go over that?
This is what he thinks. This is common in a lot of sort of people that don't focus on just one conspiracy, like they're into multiples and they think they're tied together. Is they generally think that there's sort of like two layers at least. There's like this outside layer that the general public sees, and then there's this inside layer that's secret. And so this is what he seems to be saying is the outside layer when he's talking about hierarchy.
Okay.
So look how it's mixed with, so there's like normal, groups or institutions with other things that you wouldn't think belonged. And this is kind of like a theme with conspiracy theorists is they don't actually usually have any type of legit evidence of connections. They seek correlations or similarities or like patterns between things and then go, aha, and then they're just convinced of it. They have that gap, and then their conclusion is
they're going to fill it.
Yeah, it's I want this to be true.
Why
and then
is it always the Federal Reserve that's in the middle of this stuff, though?
Well, a lot of conspiracy theorists that like really branch out like this guy usually can include the Federal Reserve because it's technically a private institution. It's not. It's kind of like the post office in the United States. Mm-hmm. It's a private business or institution, pseudo-governmental.
Okay.
But it's extremely secretive in the sense of like protective for obvious reasons. So like one thing that makes it really sort of appealing to conspiracy theorists is they protect the identity of the different like sort of higher order people that are on like the board and stuff like that, mm-hmm. because obviously there would be
corruption possibly
targeted pretty highly targeted if you were known because you controlled the economy basically. I mean, you set the different like currency not manipulation but rules.
Yeah.
It's like ripe to be thrown into a conspiracy. Some of this other stuff, a Bilderberg group, that's like a favorite. Just
okay. So what is that? I've heard of the Bilderberger thing before, but I don't know like what it is, what they are, if it's a person, a family. Do you have any idea?
It's a meeting of primarily business people, mm-hmm. like higher up business people, like the owners, basically, of like really influential or important businesses in the United States. So naturally, there's going to be politicians there that want to say stuff. But again, because there's politicians there, there's high security, and it's invite only. It's just like a private club sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So they go, hey, they don't let anybody in. What's going on in there? And they just do things like they'll do retreats just like anyone else does, like in these type of things. So like the Koch brothers do this. They just have retreats where they'll just like for the weekend they'll have like a camp out, in their giant plot of land and stuff like that. So this group does that. It's just like, hey, we kind of have a fairly big influence in the economy. We should probably at least exchange ideas or talk shop or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you can't, like, we're not going to let just anybody in here. This is our private party, plus there's, like, high-profile people here that need security. So it's like, that's the pattern, by the way, in a lot of conspiracy theorists, is like, anytime there's a reason to just not let the general public know about what's going on, then they're going, aha, there's some kind of mysterious connection. So that's why you see things like the Bilderberg group tied to the Federal Reserve, and I don't even know what the hell the group is. They just got here on the map.
They're just gonna, yeah. Let's just start giving them titles so we know who we're referring to. We're not gonna give them a real name.
Yeah. Some of these I'm not familiar with, like the Council of 13. I don't know what the hell that is.
That's probably some satanic shit. Would be my guess, since the number 13 is involved.
Well, if it's like legit occult stuff, then I've never heard of it, and I would know. But if it's if it's some conspiracy, then whatever.
London
So, like, I
School
mean,
of
there's-
Economics. What?
Yeah, like what the hell? Like that's a really well-known school of that a lot of like high-profile economists come from. So why would you tie that in? I don't know.
Because that's
I
where all
don't
the
know.
smart people come from.
Let's see what he has to say if he talks about any sort of like how these tie together.
Okay.
Higher in the occult hierarchy, the satanic hierarchy, which is incredibly hierarchical, it's all hierarchical, then you have more power over someone higher than you in the public hierarchy.
You know, people familiar with your work would know that you've made some predictions over the years, and they've come to pass. I mean, I think this may be part of the reason why people are really starting to pick up on your work. Something like the internet, what do you see happening? I mean, because at the moment, this is how people are getting information spread to each other. It seems, at least at the moment, to be relatively free in most countries. What do you see happening there?
The big thing that they're going to say is because of the danger of terrorism and terrorists communicating on the internet, these things have to be stopped. I mean, what did Cameron say after the London riots? We may have to talk about censoring Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah, there's legit reasons for that have nothing to do with what he's talking about.
Yeah.
It,
That's very easily shown to just, okay, this is a pattern. And this is why this pattern is happening. Okay, well, I think this pattern is happening because of some crazy shit. The jump is what's amazing to me. It's just the jump.
Yeah, I mean that's an extremely common thing. Is kind of like the map. It's like they'll like piece together things that don't really have anything to do with each other, but may have some similarities, but not like connections causally. And then they just can't resist seeing all these patterns, and then they think it's somehow grouped together in one thing. So like when they started censoring Twitter and Facebook and other social media, it was in the aftermath, like the immediate aftermath of a crisis. They do that to help disrupt any potential further communication of like destruction, if it's still going on.
Yeah, that's
it's not just kept to silent.
I think he's talking about like mass censoring, like the way that China does their internet and stuff. You can't go on this site, you can't go on that site, and stuff like that, and then just slowly whittle it down.
Well,
he's never been on 4chan. 4chan wouldn't allow that.
Specifically David Cameron.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see where he goes with it.
All right, go ahead. You can play it.
And Bill Clinton, and when Bill Clinton, like Tony Blair or George Bush or anybody, when they open their mouths, it's the Rothschild speaking. And just a few months ago, Bill Clinton came out and said we need basically a censor organization, a ministry of truth, to police the internet and to stop people. He specifically talked about people who are spreading rumors on the internet and are not true. They are true, Bill, okay.
Sound anything like recent phrase being used by certain Trump people?
Which one may that be, Ricky? Which one? Tell me.
Keep in mind how old this is. This is older. So the whole fake news thing.
Oh.
This is another thing that conspiracy theorists love to do, is the media is lying to you. That's a favorite of conspiracy theorists.
They're in my books. They'll documentaries about it. They're true. Go away. Drink your milk.
What is the milk thing about?
I'm just guessing that's some kind of British idiom. I don't know.
Do people just turn up at your door, though? I'm sure you have fans that
they
find
do.
out where...
I hope they're not fans. I hope they're not followers or they're not listening. But I have people come quite a lot, from time to time. I'm a very private person, you see. It's one of the strange things about my life, really. I guess you call it a paradox, but I don't suppose it is, really. And that's that almost everything I've done in my life has been a public profession. I was a footballer, then I became a journalist and a television presenter, then I was a national spokesman for the Green Party, then I did this, of course. And yet I'm an incredibly private person. And you know, I talk to thousands at an event, and I love it. I just love being there. It's like being in another reality. There's a massive interaction going on energetically between the audience and me. You feel what humanity is behind the programming and behind the false sense of limitation and I can't and little me. You feel the true magnitude of what we are coming off the audience.
What we need is not compliance, we need a non-comply dance. Where we beat to a different drum and we dance to a different drum. Where we refuse to acquiesce to this control system that seeks to enslave us even more than it already has.
Sound like a cult leader at all?
Just a little bit.
He's got some of the traits. Watch his body language and his tone of voice.
Non-comply dance. Do this comply. No. No. Enough. It's time to fly. It's time to fly. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's funny, Kev, you've brought me here, and it's kind of a real strange, kind of spooky, kind of surreal feeling, because I used to stand here. I was a little boy. I could just about see over the top of this bloody fence. Same fence, I think it is anyway, repainted. And I used to watch the steam trains come up. And I wanted to be a footballer, and I wanted I love steam trains and all the rest of it. And nearly 60 years later, I'm standing in the same spot, and I've been talking to you about a moon bloody matrix, shape-shifting reptilians, a few families run the bloody world. I mean, whatever happened to you? Just keep watching the steam trains. All the trouble you've got me into. And it's just a strange where life goes. You never know where it goes, so all you can do is enjoy the moment. And I love this moment when I was watching them steam trains, I was in my heaven. And standing here, I'm in another kind of heaven, because, given what happened 20 years ago and many years after that, I was ridiculed in the street, called a nutter, and I couldn't fill a phone box.
Yeah,
and now
I'm sure that's
suddenly
still
it's
happening.
so different. It just shows that if you keep walking and believe in what you're doing, then something comes out the other end, and it's just beginning to.
Phrasing, anyway. So I think that's about the end where they say anything meaningful, but
Yeah.
I was hoping there'd be a little more lizard people talk in this, because he does kind of go off the deep end with it. The problem is most of his stuff on his YouTube channel is like several hours long, and I'm not about to pick that apart, but he talks about shape-shifting. There's let's see, I had it pulled up. Let me see if I can. Hopefully it'll be more fruitful than the last one, even though he mentioned it a little bit.
I was looking through the reptilian ones that I had come across as well to see if there is a good one but it doesn't.
Well,
it just shows eyes is all. It shows like somebody's messed with the pupils.
Yeah, and it's like an hour and so long. There's one where he talks to Alex Jones, which I thought that's fantastic, but it's super long and I wouldn't know where to jump in.
We can just kind of jump through it. Just pop the link in the search bar. You can't do that, can you? Can you put it in the search bar?
No, but here, let's try this, because there's this compilation about reptilian shapeshifting. Let's see if it's any good. So I'll throw it to you.
Okay. Yeah, send that to me. I will pull it up.
I actually, just for everyone listening, the way I first heard about this guy, so a family member of mine who didn't know better, he appeared on, I think it was Letterman, maybe? Something like that, like some kind of major talk show. And he loves to say that he's a philosopher, which makes me want to choke him out. And so this family member calls me. It's like, oh, there's a philosopher on a major show. You got to watch him. soon as I turn it on and see who it is, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So, wait, tarnish the reputation of the discipline in the public eye. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Anyway.
Why would he call himself a philosopher to begin with? I mean, where's your
People,
education, man?
yeah, people love to just, it's this new fad, I guess.
Just
of
because you
like,
talk about something does not make you a philosopher. I talk about all kinds
Yeah.
of things. I'm
Well,
most
it's like-
certainly not a philosopher.
well, okay, just even within the philosophy world, there's a debate about who's a philosopher. It's like, there's no question if you're an academic of some kind, like for your job, that you're a philosopher. But that's sort of like, okay, if you have a degree in philosophy, but you don't have a job in it, are you still a philosopher? So that's kind of gone on.
Okay. I see.
People like this, it's basically, if I think deeply about something, I'm a philosopher. It's like, no, you're not. Not even close. There's actual legit like subdisciplines and things you have to learn, at least to be able to call yourself that, even remotely.
God. All right. Well, I've got it pulled up. I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and
Fake
let it play.
sense of like it lends credibility to them or something. I don't know. Anyway, fire it up.
It's like anybody can read a book. It doesn't mean you're an expert.
Exactly.
Oh man, sad music.
Watch it be only music.
Do you think he's a human being? Yeah. That looks pretty fucking human to me.
They're gonna do something. They're gonna talk about his eyes.
It is a human being, but God.
It's kind of a compliment. When this guy saw this, my skin's like a baby's ass.
Am I supposed to be watching the psychopath in the background, or?
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Whoa, calm down.
See the size of the teeth? So he's a horse? It's called alcohol, bro.
Yeah, because the derp face makes you a reptilian. Oh my god. That's just disturbing.
It's awful. That is an awful face.
What? That is just the angle of his face changing.
Oh.
They're not sharpening. Jesus. Alright, what's this say? Oh, right, the Catholic Church. That's another favorite go-to. Not sure why.
Because when it comes to religion, Catholics aren't seen as Christians in the Christian faith, in the Christian community. They're just seen as Catholics. So
Yeah, that was
Catholics
weird.
Catholics are considered like the evil part of Christianity.
I never got that. It's like, you do realize that they were the first ones, right? I mean, unless you count the Gnostics.
They're Catholic. They're not of Protestant faith. So that makes them the enemy.
Yeah. I mean, but like just historically, like Protestants.
Oh, I know.
not
Yeah, I know that. But they are the enemy to other Christians. I was taught that religiously. Pun totally intended. Seriously. That's like whenever anybody talks about Catholics or Christians, I'm like, that's two separate things. Even though I know it's not.
No, anytime I've encountered that, I sweep that away and say, no, they're Christians too. But yeah.
It's because
I don't know if it's
they're
because it's heavily
alcoholics.
based in ritual or what.
It's because of the alcohol, and because of the they pray to saints and stuff like that. They see that as demonic because you only pray to God. That's it.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
They have a
Or
reason.
possibly the Opus Dei order, which is legit. It's
Maybe.
But it's basically Masonry for Catholics, just like more exclusive to Catholicism.
Well, whenever I know that I was told that they pray to Mary instead of praying to God, and that was wrong.
Right.
That was wrong. And then
Yeah.
that anytime I heard anybody saying anything about like Catholic saints, it was always in a disparaging way. And then the like taking the blood and the body of Christ is like just horrible in their eyes. In like Protestant Christianity. Because
Don't Episcopalians do that?
Yeah, they do too,
But they're Protestant.
they're considered outliers. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But
Diet. What's it they call them?
what? Oh, I don't know. All right, let's let the reptilians.
Okay. Now let's see if this gets any more into it, or if it's just gonna be subtitles. If that's what it is, then we can just move on to
Here,
stuff.
I'll speed through it real quick. Let's see. Reptilian
Whoa,
people.
it's a good spot to jump to.
It is now the Hulk reptile. Oh, it paused it.
They always analyze the faces.
Yeah. I want to see skin. I want to see scales. Your tongue goes down your throat, you crazy people. Alright, I can't handle any more of that music.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Jesus, that was terrible. So, I guess it's just people's imaginations getting carried away with them. I mean, simply.
And I really wish, just like going through David Icke's YouTube channel, there's reptilians, there's like a lot of New World Order stuff. It just sucks because they're like hours and hours long.
Well, I seen over on the side the recommended ones. It's the first part of the David Icke one. I'm really interested in him. This is what I was hoping for by both of us looking for different stuff. Is to come across something that I haven't seen yet, and he definitely is. So the first part of that is lizard. What? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know how like in the side feed of the YouTube where the recommended stuff is?
Yeah.
There's a David Icke one on shape-shifting, and the thumbnail is Mark Zuckerberg with a forked tongue coming out of his mouth.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, my God. Hey, there's this one. This might be all right. Let's try this for a few minutes, and then if it's lame, we'll skip it. How's that sound?
Send it to me.
So I'll send you like David Icke, why shape-shifting is possible. And I wish I could like more briefly convey how nuts this guy is.
All right, I got the link now. Show me you're crazy, man. Show me you're crazy. Oh, I see alien skulls already.
Yes.
God. This should be interesting. So it's just, I guess these people they do really good drugs, or they have a lot of time on their hands, or they're just highly paranoid people.
Will you ever see, shoot, what's that movie called? I think it might just be A Number, but it's filmed entirely in black and white. And it's a guy that is looking for a code. I think it's to the stock market, like to be able to predict the stock market.
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking of the Da Vinci Code type stuff.
Oh no, it's older than that. I think it came out like maybe late '90s, early 2000. I wish I could think of it.
I'm not a movie buff, so I'm useless to you on that one.
Well, okay, but like what I was going to say about him, the movie is, even though it's fiction, it's kind of has this aspect to it. So one thing you notice with like a lot of conspiracy theorists is once they start off like see things
Serpent.
in different like the patterns they try and look at,
Yeah.
it's hard for them to stay with one thing. Like they very easily go down the rabbit hole and start seeing it everywhere, and it's like they see more and more patterns, and they keep tying things together that really have no
They're looking
reason.
for it too.
Yeah. So I don't know if they feel comfortable. Like maybe it's a combination of like, so like people feel more comfortable when they can predict things. Like they feel they're in control of their life.
Yeah. I see
And
that a lot with religious people. I mean, they do get comfort from having some sort of answer, and I can understand needing that. But
yeah,
at the same time, it's like, I do it. You could do it too.
yeah. Oh, I wish I would have thought of this. There's a guy I know that is like really into studying cults, and I know that's not quite what we're looking at, but
Pretty close.
it would be like good insight into the mentality of these. I think there would be some overlap.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's see.
Okay.
God
Here we go.
for it.
Gods and goddesses with elongated skulls. Now, of course, there are people, again, another one, with the big hats, the high hats, the elongated skull that you see so often in Egypt. Now, you do find this among some native peoples, where they take the children and they bind their heads, I mean, God, the thought of it, so tightly from a birth, and it elongates the skull. And when they're asked why they do this, they say, and Craig Muchwood told me a lot about what goes on in Africa from that point of view, they say it's to make our children like the gods. Again, it's this carryover from the gods with the elongated skulls. Now, one of the ways that they symbolized these bloodlines and these gods as part human, part snake was like this. You see loads of these, where it's part human and the rest is like a snake or a serpent. These are kind of endless numbers of these images all around the world in different cultures. And here's another example where you're human and then you are part serpent. This is the hybrid bloodline that I'm talking about, symbolized in ancient architecture, etc. You get the symbolism of the people, humans, fighting giant snakes. Again, all symbolic. There again is a...
So he usually does this at the beginning of his talks, and then we should probably move on after this, because I think I've seen parts of this before. It's not too eventful, but and this isn't that uncommon in general with conspiracy theorists, is they'll try and legitimize their theories by things in the past, especially religious things, because most people buy into religious concepts.
Yeah.
So they'll try and draw from things like that. So like he's talking about, ancient religions here and quasi-deities, or like anthropomorphized deities a little bit, pseudo, have some human traits. But so what? I mean, like that's a really common thing. It's just like when people that are, contemporary religious point at like, oh, look, all these religions have these traits in common. What does that say? And they go, aha, there's truth to that. That's what that means. It's like, no, people just tend to pick out the same patterns in nature because that's how our brains work.
Yeah.
And then they just...
One little baby was born after being in the birth canal for a pretty good amount of time and made his head pointy when he came out, and they thought he was a god. I guarantee you that's where the stories started. A pointy-headed baby was born.
Well, what he's talking about is legit in the sense that so like I know an anthropologist that has studied this. He's not making that up. He's just interpreting it bizarrely. Like they really do bind heads and feet and stuff like that, because they do see it as sort of plain, like making them more godlike. Not in the sense that they want them to be gods, but in the sense that like they'll be more accepted by the gods.
Yeah. It's like, isn't it with the Egyptians, if they don't have a face, then they can't get in? They can't get into the afterlife with Osiris, I believe. That's why all the Sphinx and any of the statues and stuff that you'll see in any of the archaeological stuff with ancient Egypt, their nose or their eyes will be gone, even if it's a painting.
That's just decay.
No, seriously, go and look. That
Well,
they'll knock
I've
they'll
seen-
knock the eyes and they'll knock the nose off because they can't if Ra, I think it's either Ra or Osiris. I know I'm getting this wrong, but they'll they don't have a face, if the god doesn't recognize you, then they won't allow you into the afterlife. So that's why you'll see most of that. And I'm not saying specifically the Sphinx, but there's this theory with that one too, that it was destroyed by, I can't remember which Arabic army. I'm not saying it's fact, but when it comes to like the artwork, like any of the tapestries, any of the paintings on the walls inside of the pyramids and the tombs and stuff, the tomb raiders would go in, and usually Muslim, they go in and they destroy the face because they knew that the Egyptians couldn't enter the afterlife without a face. They still do it today.
I'm wondering if that's what the Muslims believe, because I've seen some
Maybe.
Egyptian artifacts like in person, and they've had faces.
Well, no, I'm saying, yeah. Well, I'm saying that they do. They're supposed to have faces, but the Muslims are knocking them off. Like
I see what you're
the people
saying.
that are
Okay,
going
that
into the tombs and all these places that have the relics, they're going in and destroying the faces.
Okay.
Where was
okay,
the
I
last
understood.
one? Yeah, there was one that was just destroyed like a year or two
It
ago.
was I think.
I think so, but that's the first thing that they went for with
Yeah,
the big
I
statues.
sold into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They go straight for the faces first.
yeah. Sucked. That place is awesome. Anyway,
Okay, so
so what you got for us? You
Um,
got some more crazy stuff.
I do. It's another reptilian thing, but I think we've kind of covered that one. All right, let me get the GMO one going.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna go less psycho, but still off the rocker.
So what do you? I mean, I know you've heard the arguments and stuff. Like, are you pro it, against it? What say you before we even start this crazy?
I am pro GMO.
I am as well. I mean, it makes sense. It'll feed everyone. I understand that they're putting genes and stuff in it that are coming from animals, but it's not going to affect you. It's not going to turn you into an animal.
Well, there's a couple of reasons that I'm pro GMO. Well, one is, okay, first of all, people that protest GMOs don't realize that literally almost everything they eat
Yeah, it's already
modified.
genetically modified.
Yeah, well, so I know a guy that his job is to work, part of his job is to develop different forms of engineered organisms, and it's not always the food specifically. So, like, for example, there was this case where they developed this, I don't know what it was made of, but it was like a coating for strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the actual strawberry itself, but it was they altered the sort of natural coating that forms on it, and all it did was it kept these insects from eating at it, so it would last longer.
Yeah.
And there were like huge protests of people outside the plant, stuff like that, and like they didn't even understand what was going on. They thought they were like making Frankenstein strawberries or something like that. And it's like, what? No, we're helping to preserve food and feed people longer. There's an interesting there's a sociological play on this too. So like if you're poor and you have to go buy food and you can only keep it for so long, and then it goes bad, and you have to throw it out. Like, that's expensive.
Oh God.
So,
yeah.
like, that's
food waste is a huge problem.
Right, and like it talks about that in that Peter Singer book that I mentioned last cast. But like that's why if you go to like a Whole Foods or some kind of organic place like that, that's why their food expires so fast, because a huge number of GMO results or whatever you want to say are designed to preserve food longer. Like they're preservatives, basically.
Mm-hmm.
That's the vast majority of them. They're either improving on nutrients, which is beneficial to poor people as well, because you don't have to because most food that you buy doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it.
No,
It's
it
not
doesn't. You can. I mean, people don't realize you can die from malnutrition, even if
Right.
you are still eating food.
Yeah. So otherwise you would just be filling your stomach, but you get nothing out of it.
Yep.
So,
Your body's not drawing
I mean,
it. That's the
there's-
point of food. It's
so-
fuel. People forget
Yeah,
that.
between that and the Haber process, which works with a special modification of fertilizer, that feeds about a third of the planet. So it's not something to complain about. I really don't understand it. I mean,
There's
other
tons
than
of food that's available right now that is killing the shit out of people, and it's mostly sugar. And that's
well,
not GMO.
yeah, well, that and your brain runs off of sugar and protein. And if you don't get those things, especially the protein, your body will actually start attacking your muscles to get it, which is how you get dietary issues if you're malnourished.
Yep. Okay, I got it
So
up
that's
now,
what-
so let's let them rant for a minute.
That's why you get, just aside, that's why you get tired. Like if you get fatigued mentally, even though you haven't been physically doing anything, that's why.
Absolutely.
Just all right, let's see what's going on.
Okay.
In the face of yet more scientific evidence of the adverse health effects of genetically modified foods, country after country is working to ban, limit, or restrict the cultivation and testing of GM crops. But as the biotech giants gear up the PR war against their opponents, the question of what people can do to avoid GMO foods is becoming more important than ever. This is the GRTV Backgrounder on Global Research TV. Genetically modified food crops have long been sold to the public as the answer to humanity's 21st century food supply problems. For decades now, the public has been told that they are safe for human consumption, that they will improve crop yields, that they will require less pesticides, and that they will be the safest, most effective way to feed the world's population as we head into times of severe instability in the global food.
Okay, that's something I really want to comment too. So it's kind of ironic when people protest GMOs as a sort of like this guy was just talking about with the pesticides.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people protest GMOs, it's because they want it to be quote unquote natural, like the food natural. But when you have a GMO, like genetically modified organism, like food, you don't have to use maybe not any, but not nearly as strong of pesticides. So it's actually healthier for you than it would be if you were to go buy a non-GMO food that had to be heavily doused in pesticides just to keep it from dying faster. So it's just kind of this ironic thing that most people aren't aware of that protest them.
Most people
In the
don't
global
understand
food
how
supply.
farming goes either. They just don't get it. All they're looking at is, my food sounds weird. No, not even that it looks weird. It just sounds weird.
Yeah, so that's one thing that drives me crazy when there's certain regulations that you have to put a sticker on packages if it has GMOs in it. It's that's from hysteria, and now all of a sudden you're keeping people from buying things that are actually better for them. I view this as sort of another version of the anti-vaxxers.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, that's entirely another. Oh God, that's a different one. I can't even with them. They make me mad.
Oh yeah, me too.
Okay, Warcorn.
Although scientific research has long exposed these claims as biotech propaganda, a new batch of studies in recent months has garnered attention for upending every one of these claims about GMO technology. Last month, a new study published in the Journal of Food and Chemical Toxicology.
Hold up, back out real quick if you can, because you have better control over the videos that than I do.
Yeah.
I want to see what website this is, because if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's notorious for just misunderstanding the
detention
best
for upending
science.
every one of these claims
I'll pause
about
it.
GMO technology.
Here it comes. Man, trying to see if it's looking at the header. I can't tell. Okay, never mind. Move on.
Last month, a new study published in the Journal of Food and Chemical Toxicology found that rats fed Monsanto's patented NK603 GMO corn were more likely to develop tumors and suffer severe liver and kidney damage. The study followed 200 rats over 2 years, divided into 10 groups of 10 males and 10 females. 3 groups were fed the NK603 corn alone. 3 groups were fed the corn treated with Roundup herbicide. 3 groups were not fed the corn, but their water was treated with Roundup. And a control group was fed non-GM corn and plain drinking water. The researchers found...
Yeah, and you know what happened? Roundup was modified to not do that. It's not like they did this on purpose.
No, that's
Anyway.
that's the way
Researchers found
scientific
that
trials go. That's what happens. They
Right.
they test this stuff to make sure it's not going to happen in people. They see a bad result, they adjust.
Yeah, and that's another thing that they love to, these anti-GMO people love to point to. It's like, aha, see, this is bad for you. And it's like, well, yeah, there's going to be things we don't catch and we're going to improve on it. It's like they're basically against the scientific method just because it's not
Perfection or nothing. Don't you know that?
perfect. Yeah.
rats that consumed the GM corn or the Roundup, separately or combined, were prone to serious health problems that typically did not manifest until the 4th month of the trial. Industry-sponsored rat feeding tests only span 3 months. This comes in addition to numerous studies in recent years showing that, contrary to the claims of the GM food supporters, GM crops neither produce larger yields nor reduce the amount of pesticides necessary for the cultivation of crops.
Okay, that's just a flat-out lie. Like, I don't know what else to say to that. I mean, that's readily available information. That's just bullshit.
A 2009 study by the Union of Concerned Scientists found that genetically engineered crops produced no significant yield increases, and what increases in yield were detected were almost exclusively due to traditional breeding and improvement in agricultural practices.
Okay, even if that were true, no significant, at least if it's similar to statistic results, like if you say something's not statistically
Yeah, it means
significant.
it's still doing good. It's just not
What it
exceeding.
What it means is it's that there's a difference, but it's not affecting anything.
Mm-hmm. Not yet.
So at best, their argument is it doesn't do anything. Not that it's bad for you.
Oh, so let's cut it out because it's not doing any change, and we're kind of worried.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know. Let's see where he goes with this.
This was affirmed in a report to the UN Human Rights Council last year, showing that the scientific literature demonstrates that the greatest potential for increased yield in the future comes not from GMO foods, but from organic, agroecological practices that are capable of doubling yields within entire regions in under 10 years. A 2011 study coordinated by the International Commission on the Future of Food and Agriculture showed that GMO crops were promoting the creation of superweeds, contributing to food insecurity and requiring vastly higher concentrations of pesticides to be...
Okay, so another problem that exists, and this is something that they're always adjusting for, is so anytime you mess with any type of, well, anything in like a not in a biosphere, but in sort of like a ecological, like even in the food chain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you mess with anything like that, it's going to have a sort of rippling effect in everything else in the ecosystem. So like if you say, for example, were to eliminate a pest of some kind, like an insect that's messing with crops, let's say you completely killed it off.
Yeah.
Then whatever uses that to survive, like whatever eats those, all of a sudden it's out of food. So that's going to kill off that species.
Yep.
It's going to mess with the entire thing. It's all interconnected. So they're constantly looking for ways to try and avoid that, and they're going to have some negative effects, but the overall goal is for humans. So
Exactly. I mean, we're not trying to make sure that the bugs proliferate. We're trying to make sure our species does, while trying to take into account that we need those other species as well. But
right, Yeah, it can eventually affect us down the line, but you got to ask yourself, not just with this, but with every conspiracy theory that you come across. This isn't, I wouldn't really call this a conspiracy theory. I just think they're woefully misinformed.
Well,
But
these kind of videos lead to the crazy shit.
yeah, just like the anti-vaxxer stuff.
Like the
But here's the thing.
suicide gene. It's like, really? There's
Yeah.
another theory out there that if you put it's a gene from a fish put into vegetables, and then that triggers something in a human that makes them more likely to commit suicide. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry, but you can't get genes from eating stuff. It doesn't work that way. But
that's called sexual reproduction.
I mean, yeah, you could modify your genetics, but it's going to take a hell of a lot more than eating something. But anyway, so like one thing you have to keep in mind with whenever you hear sort of like something fishy, even if it's not like a way out there conspiracy, so like it's implying here that basically these are malicious things that are being done. So ask yourself, why would they do this? What would be the gain from that? Like, what's the purpose of that? Just to be malevolent? I don't buy it.
Well, this is where the conspiracy stuff starts to come in. They want to control the population, so I guess they got to kill some of us all by the food supply.
Yeah, and that's right. And that's why the stuff quickly leads to things like the New World Order and the Illuminati. Because there's no other explanation that you could reasonably come to without destroying the thing that you want to be true.
It's the banks. It's the banks, I'm telling you. The banks are controlling everything.
Banks, right?
Jesus. Okay, let's let this nerd talk just a little bit more, and then I'll go to a funny one.
All right.
As convincing as the results of this latest research is, it only adds to an already voluminous body of research in the scientific literature that has already undermined claims of GMO safety and efficacy. Earlier this week, I had the chance to talk to independent journalist and researcher Anthony Gucciardi of naturalsociety.com.
That's the website I was talking about. That site is pseudoscience just through and through.
These studies, and the detrimental health effects that have been tied to the consumption of genetically modified crops. Well, let's...
Just notice his very dramatic pauses in between things. Oh my god. It just says...
He just takes...
Just a deadpan straight at
it. I read that web address under his name on the left as Colbert Report.
Oh my god, so did I. Oh man, I did too. I didn't notice it until just now.
Speaking of patterns, seeing patterns that aren't there.
Let's get into some of the health effects of GMOs, because obviously this new study detailing the link with breast cancer, but there have been all sorts of other health effects associated with GMOs in the scientific peer-reviewed literature. Let's talk about some of that.
Yeah, so obviously there's been hundreds of different studies. There would be thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of studies on GMOs and Roundup, but Monsanto, since they own the patent to their genes, they can go around and say, you're not allowed to study this. And that's why one of the reasons that France is doing so is because they're not based in the United States, where Monsanto has such a firm grasp on the politicians and figureheads in the United States. Going as far back as WikiLeaks 2007, we can find that Monsanto actually owns all United States diplomats. But I guess that's another story.
Whoa.
Holy cow.
So Monsanto does actually have a patent on some of its seeds.
Yes,
and so
I do know about that.
It can harm farmers in the sense that they're not allowed to reuse them like they normally would be able to with non-patented seeds.
Yeah.
They don't actually own the seeds. They own the method used to produce the modified genetics. And so they can ask for them back, like after they've been used, like in corn. And you could get in trouble if you try and sell them or reuse them because they want to charge you for them for every use, just like any other product. So that does bring up some ethical questions. Like I've looked at that just through ethical studies that I've done. Is this an okay thing to do.
That was gonna
when
be
it
that was gonna be my con argument against the Monsanto thing, just because they do hold that power, and
Right.
I've seen a few stories in the news of where farmers aren't even growing Monsanto seeds, and some of their stuff just ends up in their fields of their own crop, and
I was just gonna say that,
Monsanto
yeah.
goes around and looks at them, and they'll take them to court for it and shit.
Yeah, well, that is true.
But it's not
But
it's
I
not
think
severe.
yeah, it's hard to prove if they've like. It's the difference between growing it and then just like wind taking it into their land. So it's like, how do you prove someone?
Yeah, exactly. But
You know what I mean?
if it's on the farmer's property and it can be proven, because all they gotta do is test it, then they have a case.
Right, right. So yeah, so I agree completely that that's an issue that needs to be worked out on an ethical level and also just a logistical level. But to me, that doesn't invalidate the use of GMOs. 'Cause that's more of a thing that's not even really GMO related. It's more it's more related to intellectual property rights and or just patent rights. Like, should you be allowed to patent gene sequencing?
Well, should
And
you
that's
should you be
especially
able to
relevant.
should you be able allowed to patent anything that has to do with food?
Right. Well, the real like danger in this, it goes beyond food. So if you're allowed to patent gene sequences, you can patent human gene sequences.
Ooh, yeah.
So if you say, let's say in the future where a company, let's say this is allowed, right? Let's say we're legally allowed to patent gene sequences, and then that's part of the method in which a company develops, say, an organ for like a transplant.
Yeah.
Do they then own that organ that's inside of you?
Oh, wow. Oh, what is the name of that movie where they go and repossess organs?
Oh, Repo,
Yeah, there you go.
the genetic opera. Yeah, I actually love that.
No. See, and this would lead into an AI conversation, and then Kari would melt into a puddle and have a panic attack. Because AI
Oh.
freaks me out.
Oh, yeah. Leica and I actually were discussing doing an AI stream for the next one, whenever that is. So I'll be sure to announce that to everyone when we do it.
Oh my God, yeah, I would love to see you guys talk about that stuff, because I like to hear about it, but I like to be able to go, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, and we're both techies, and also I've sort of like generally looked at this from a philosophical angle. So that'd be cool. But yeah, so like most of these things here with GMOs, they're concerned with like what it does to your body and not so much.
The benefits of it, I'd say.
Yeah, usually the pattern is they downplay or ignore the benefits, and then they just look at only the cons and blow it out of proportion.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm bored. I'm bored with these guys at this point, so I'm gonna switch over to a funny one. It's a
Sounds good to me.
It's a cartoon.
Sweet.
Let me see if I can get it to.
These guys need some genetic modification just to stop being dorks.
That's not gonna happen. It
Some
makes
gene.
All right, come on. Search. Okay, I got it now. Got it.
Oh God, the same wonderful website.
Yeah.
GMO a go-go.
Jeez.
Hey kid, what's up? Do you hate having to eat those healthy vegetables? Is nutrition getting you down? Well, cheer up! Help's on the way. Say hello to GMO, genetically modified organisms. You can eat them all day. Not only will meal times be extra delicious, they'll also contain oodles and oodles of insect genes and fish genes. Just think of all that extra yummy goodness. But that's not all. We're irradiating everything you eat, so you'll never have to absorb a single nasty nutrient ever again.
This is where the hysteria starts.
Yeah, well, okay. Even if that's the sort of effect it had, you do that whenever you put something in the microwave.
Yeah.
Just
Get rid of
saying.
your microwaves. Now. Do it.
All it's doing is accelerating the speed of the particles in the food. That's why if you microwave something that's dry, it's because the moisture, like any type of water
Being
that's in the
pushed out.
food. Well, okay, so like water, which is in a lot of foods at some level, it's something that is easily excitable through radiation. So whenever you nuke something, that's why if you don't like cover it, so it can sort of like reabsorb the moisture through the steam. That's why it's like dried out.
If you want to see the effects of a microwave on your food, get a block of cheese, like a decent block of cheese, stick it in the microwave, only for like, I'd say 35, 45 seconds maybe. You don't have to cook it, but just turn it in there and get some heat on it, and then when you pull it out, you'll see how a microwave works, because it will push all of the fats and stuff out of the cheese and onto the surface. That's why it's really hard to melt like a block of cheese in the microwave, because it comes from it warms up the inside, the stuff that's densely packed together, and then spreads it out. So it pushes all the grease and stuff. That's how, if you go to a restaurant, you get a cheese sauce, if all the oils and stuff are on the surface, you know it's been nuked before they brought it to your table.
Yeah, well, like, okay, so I've heard this sort of line before, and I don't know if it'll be in this video, but like one example that I've seen before is they'll put non-food in a microwave. So like when I was younger, for fun, I would destroy CDs in microwaves. You can put it in a microwave for like literally 2 seconds, and it'll fry it.
Oh yeah,
make
it turns black.
Yeah, it smells like terrible. I don't even know what to call it.
I used to put marshmallows in the microwave, and they would
the sort of surge it goes over. But so they'll do something like that, be like, see what it does to this object, and like imply that it's going to have the same effect on food somehow. It's like, what? All you're doing is accelerating particles. That's it. Anyway.
And don't forget about pesticides. Plenty of those. Yes, sir. Like to know more? Well, let's take a look. Corn is a staple food used in many, many ways throughout the food industry. Growing it takes time, money, and lots of pesticides to protect the crops from bugs, vermin, and fungus. Now, some people think that pesticides made by big biotechs are harmful for humans, animals, and the environment, but that's okay. We've solved that problem. Our GM scientists are putting the pesticide right inside the crops. That's right. Isn't that amazing? The food itself will kill those pesky critters stone cold.
Okay, one, humans are not the same as insects. And two, I don't even think that's true. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I mean, what good would that do? You want to stop the insects from eating it in the first place, so why would you make it only kill them after they've eaten it?
Well, I think it's I'm pretty sure it's a chemical that once the animal bites into it, if they get it into their mouth or into their body at all, absorb it into their body at all, then it kills them. I'm pretty sure that's how that process goes.
So like they're implying that it's inside the food, right? It's not on the surface.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's not.
So in other words, the insects would have to eat the food first.
No,
so
it's not. It's on the surface.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make sense of this.
I know, me too. I just like the pretty colors.
Now, some people are worried about the bees dying off. Busy bees pollinate billions of dollars worth of crops, vegetables, fruit, flowers, you name it. But some insects are just plain greedy. They'll eat everything in sight if you don't watch out. GMO to the rescue! Thanks to genetic engineering, the plant produces a toxin from the newly inserted bacterium gene. The toxin kills insects, but not humans. The Bacillus thuringiensis toxin destroys the insects' stomachs. Ouch. We have absolutely no testing results to prove that these are safe, but they are. Trust us. We...
Wait, what? Yeah, there's entire government regulatory bodies dedicated to making sure this is safe. That's just, without even looking that up, I'm just going to call bullshit.
They're saying it's not safe because there isn't enough data, because there hasn't been enough time. So they're saying we don't believe the data that you have because not enough time's gone by, so we're just going to remain ridiculously skeptical. It's like, okay, well, it's been doing good so far.
The FDA is not just going to let you release something like that without testing it. Like, there's extensive clinical trials that go for a very long time before you can do that.
Me thinks these people don't science. Yeah.
We care. And because the pesticides are already growing right inside the crop, GM plants can withstand more weed killer than the old-fashioned organic crops. No weeds, no bugs. More food, more profit. What's not to like? But that GMO goodness isn't just about corn. There's rice, soybeans, cotton, alfalfa.
These people do know that the stuff that they're adding to genetically modify it comes from other things that we already eat.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not anything. It's not unnatural. It's not like an unnatural product.
Well, that's the other thing that like bothers me is so like a lot of these denialists or not whatever people that don't seem to understand it. They'll say things are unnatural, and I'm like, that's literally not possible.
A fish is natural.
I mean,
because it happens in nature. That's what makes things natural. It happens in nature.
I mean, if it's. I mean, maybe I'm being a little too harsh on it because they probably just mean something that doesn't occur without human meddling or something. But it's not like they're taking like. I mean, it's just a dumb example because there's plenty of things that are natural that are terribly harmful. I mean, like if you eat. It's pears. Mm-hmm. Pears have cyanide in them.
Apple seeds. That's what you're looking for. Apple seeds.
Those two. Yeah. Yeah. It's just a really low level, but it's cyanide. It's natural. So.
Or the people, the health nuts that say, "I don't want chemicals in my body." Dude, everything is made of chemicals.
Yeah. Do you have any idea?
It's like, okay, you don't want specific chemicals in your body. All right, do that. Don't.
No, it was killing me. I'm sure you could find it. It's probably pretty well known. It has to be. But there was a person a while back that went to like this sort of like the far left sort of like hippie, anti-GMO, anti-vax type people, like a convention type thing.
Yeah.
And they went around with like a fake petition and like a cameraman, and the guy was asking people to sign it, and it was to ban dihydrogen oxygen monoxide, H2O, water. But he was just phrasing it like that. It's this chemical that's in a lot of stuff, and then he lists off the name. He doesn't say H2O. He says dihydrogen monoxide.
Oh my God.
And people left and right were signing it. Like, oh no, let's get this chemical out of our stuff. It's just hysterical.
No. Oh no. All right. Come on. I'll let the cartoon finish now. It gets funnier.
Alfalfa, soybeans, papaya, soybeans, oilseed rape. Is that all? Not on your life. GM is the gift that keeps on giving. The possibilities are endless. Just imagine you're a limey Brit trying to grow strawberries.
Look, there I am, just at the...
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I'm right there where the end is. Hi, everybody.
The frozen wastes of Scotland land. Well, in the future, why not insert a gene from a codfish who's built to thrive in the icy North Atlantic? Result, frost-resistant strawberries. Wow, I want it now.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was that exact thing. It was that exact thing, the frost resistance.
Yep.
And people were protesting that. because and the way it worked didn't actually modify the strawberry in any way.
Fishy strawberries. That's
Yeah,
what they're
it's
thinking.
ridiculous.
They're thinking fishy strawberries. I'm not going to eat that because it's probably going to be fishy.
Well, they were talked to. Some of the protesters were talked to, and they thought that the strawberries themselves were being modified. It's like, pro tip, if you're gonna just whinge about something, at least try and understand what you're talking about.
Yes, please.
Effects of GMO food on humans aren't as tried and tested as we'd like, but there are much more important things that need our attention right away. The population is exploding. How will we feed everyone? We need food security, and we need it now.
Really, Frankenstein?
Did you notice, though, like, it's very subtly, it doesn't even seem to be doing a very good job of convincing people that it's something bad. Like, it's almost arguing for it in, like, a benign way. Like, it's just presenting how some of it works, and then occasionally saying it's something that you shouldn't want.
Scary.
Yeah, it's like this, the theme is be afraid.
Be very afraid.
But just because tests on rats eating genetically modified potatoes showed them growing slower after 2 or 3 generations and developing fertility problems, and some organ development issues, some goody two-shoes scientists and whiny campaigners worried that might happen to humans too. Well, let's wait and see. In the meantime, the biotech companies can rake in the profits that will fund more exciting GMO experiments. We love farms. We love them so much, we want them all. We want to persuade every potential partner farmer to forget all about that silly organic farming and get with us on the GMO.
Is that supposed to be like the Men in Black?
I think so.
The hell is that?
They're going to come in and get us.
Bandwagon. Whenever we change the natural gene sequence of any plant, we get a patent ASAP. It's our invention after all. Hey, the new GMO plants are our intellectual property.
The poor
By the
little
way,
sick food cell.
The whole like patent thing brings up one other thing that I'll just briefly mention. Maybe we could save it for another time. Is I'm actually against intellectual property. And this is probably a good example, a good example of why.
We aim to achieve total control of the seed. Got an organic farm nearby? Great! Soon everything you grow will be enhanced by the altered genes from our GM crops. Isn't nature wonderful? And what better way to spread the GMO goodness around than the wind?
You do realize that things like corn don't have feelings or suffer? What is with the Frankenstein thing implying it's like harming it?
I don't know.
That was just weird.
Accidental cross-pollination isn't our problem.
Oh, there you go.
And it's no excuse for profit loss. And once our genes get into your crops belong to us. Yep. Well, it's our technology. If you're going to use it, you've got to pay. We don't care how it got there. When we own the food, we will own life. So those naughty farmers better not save their seeds for next year's crop. If they do, we'll know. We'll tie up farmers for years in the courts. Farmers will just have to buy more seeds next year. And
so yeah, this is what we're talking about, and this is all true. And they leveraged this. So like obviously local farmers don't make nearly as much money as sort of like the more corporate farming groups do.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of like this parallel between like a big business of any kind, like a local mom and pop shop, how they could run them out of business. But there's this additional aspect of so like take Monsanto, for example. If this cross-pollination happens, which just occurs from wind, it is true that they've sort of confiscated plants or seeds like that. The thing is, and I've seen this too, is there's like for local farmers, they'll take them to court and they'll just fight and fight and fight. They'll basically like win through bankrupting them. Like they'll just price them out of the court.
Yeah. And
so that is
that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
Yeah. So I don't know if you you anti-regulation people out there, this is kind of crap that happens when you don't do it.
And more pesticides, too. It's win-win all around. If you want to fight us, we might just take your farm as a settlement. But we're human. Just. Thanks, Mother Nature, but we'll take it from here. But we're doing all this for you, Johnny. Don't forget that. And if it's all too much for you to take in, don't worry. We've got it all figured out. By the time you're a teenager, it'll be GMO a go-go. We just need to make sure that our army of lobbyists keep GMO labeling off any products. Why spoil consumers with unnecessary choices after all? And
no, it's because it's fucking scaremongering. That's why. Like, yeah, they want you to buy their food, but guess what? Like I was talking about before, it's like, what do you think their end goal is? They can't make money off of you if you're dead. Like if this is like seriously having like hardcore deleterious effects on people, that seems like a bad business plan.
Oh, give me just one.
And
give me a
if
moment.
old Farmer Joe
Hi, baby. I'm glad you came by to come and watch the show tonight. My daughter's in the chat.
Oh, cool.
Just coming to check us out. I hope you do like it. I hope you do like it. All right. Go ahead and play it.
All right.
Joe decides to fight us, we have a ready-made network waiting to take care of him. Can you say revolving door? Yep. Some judges used to be lawyers.
Whoa. What's with the upside down star? Or
I was just about to say that. That looks pretty freaking demonic.
They even have it in like the pentagon shape, like in the same way that you could sort of trace the Masonic symbolism on streets in DC.
Look, there's a triangle. There's a triangle. The bank is a triangle, and it has the all-seeing eye at the top. Holy shit, this is Illuminati.
Wait. Where's the bank?
Look at the bank.
Oh, yeah. They have the
Look at it. It has the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid.
Oh, man. They're off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
There are legitimate Masonic designs in DC, but they're Masonic, so they're largely misunderstood if you're not a Mason. It has nothing to do with it.
Who worked for us, and we make sure that they take care of business. And legislation, no problem either. Former GM industry lawyers also work for the food regulation bodies. And we have enough...
That is true. I'll give them that. But again, it's this hint. It's not actual, like, here's a legit link of some kind with documentation.
It's like, look, this looks suspicious.
Yeah. It's this suggesting crap.
Of cash in our pockets to lobby any issues all the way to Saturn and back. Some people still think government food regulatory bodies are serving their needs. Hilarious. We are making a killing in India. Literally, hundreds of thousands of farmers have been organically recycled to dodge debts that they owe us.
Okay, so this part is true. This part is true that there's been a lot of suicides and stuff going on in India.
Okay. I was like,
yeah.
What are they implying, that they're using corpses?
No, the farmers in India, they're getting involved with Monsanto and the corporations that are doing these seeds. So, but they're getting in and getting like 2 years into it, their overhead and their debt is just too much, so they just commit suicide.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's what they're talking about. I think it was like 120,000 in India in 2014, I believe, that committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
And they were farmers. So I was like, shit. But they're bringing in the genetically modified cotton, the cotton seeds. So it's not those seeds aren't built for that environment there. India does have a strain of cotton seeds that do work in that environment, but this specific one, they haven't gotten it right just yet. So it's having an effect, but they're still working on it. But this,
I'm wondering. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. Go ahead. I'm done.
Oh, I'm just wondering if at some point here they'll bring up. Okay, so there's the misconception about GMOs with. It's usually brought up with bananas. So, like, naturally, like if you don't eat a GMO banana, they're a lot smaller. They're like a couple inches long, probably.
Yeah.
And so they've developed different strains genetically of bananas. So, like, a lot of the anti-GMO people will say, okay, there's only one strain of bananas. They're all clones of each other. And so they imply it's the same effect that would happen if you were to sort of like have a eugenics thing going on, where if there's some kind of virus or whatever, something they're susceptible to comes along, it'll completely wipe out the entire crop because there's only one kind, that there's no mutations where it could like adapt or not be affected by it.
Yeah.
But that's disingenuous because they have multiple strains of it for that reason. So yes, if you go eat something like a banana, I think they do it with corn as well. They're clones, but they have multiple strains of it just in case something like that happens. So I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up yet. Maybe they will still.
We'll see.
Doesn't always give strong yields, and bollworm, cotton's main pest, seems to be gaining resistance to our transgenic BT cotton. This can mean bad crop.
I didn't know they were about to say that. I didn't watch this video all the way through earlier. I only watched it like 2 minutes in because I wanted to watch it live on here. And so that I could have just let it keep playing and they would have explained it. Big mouth, Kari. Good God.
And no revenue for some.
This guy's basically bitching about evolution. The insects adapt to the environment. Of course. It's just a game of whack-a-mole. Like, we adapt the modification, then it just goes back and forth.
No revenue for some. We say once you're in, you're in. However, under Indian law, any debts die with the farmers. So farmers' suicides stop debts being passed on to any remaining family. But I'm confident that we can lobby that issue too. When we own all of the cotton varieties, and we will, suicides will be of little concern because we'll be the only cottonseed suppliers. Duh.
Do you really honestly think that if they owned completely all the cotton that the government would still let that go on? That's just kind of weird, far-fetched to me.
Well, they have presented a demonic star, or the 8-pointed star. They have presented an all-seeing eye on top of a triangle, and now deep government. So I'm going to go with they're paranoid.
The deep state.
Deep state.
Concerns have been raised in Europe over problems with GMO pig feed causing sterilization and growth problems, but we...
Yeah, that's because it's an ethical problem with a living organism that's sentient enough to feel pain, not because GMOs are bad inherently.
We have years of marketing left before that's proved, and we'll find a way to work with the Danish pig farmers banging that drum. So eat up your veggies, Johnny. There's going to be plenty for everyone for the right price.
So yeah, if you're ever looking for some good pseudoscience, there's the website for you. It's just through and through. That website actually had at one point, if I remember correctly, something about how it was how cell phone towers, the radiation off of them can basically slowly kill you. And it's kind of like a different version of how using cell phones can fry your brain or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which, because I have a tech background and specifically, I was into telecom stuff for a while. Like I even throughout myself, like someone I know used to actually set up cell phone towers, but it doesn't make any sense because if you're close enough to the point where the radiation from the tower would be harmful to you, it would miss you. So like because they're directional. So the height of the tower, like the radiation that comes from the tower, shoots out kind of like a spotlight, sort of.
Uh-huh.
So if you're really close to it, you're actually underneath the radiation, and that's like the closeness that you would have to be harmed by it. So by the time you're far enough away and you get hit by it, it's actually helpful to you. There's been studies for that, by the way, that show it like mildly stimulates your brain. But anyway, different topic.
Okay, so I was just given a request to do a specific one. My daughter thinks that the moon being a hologram is absolutely ridiculous and funny. So
that's great, because I actually saw this when I was looking for some other stuff, and I didn't know if it would be fitting. So cool.
Oh my God! Yes, absolutely. This is fantastic. Okay, I'm just about to play it. Let me unmute it.
Oh, I feel like we should have Thunderfoot on this one.
Have what?
Have Thunderfoot talking on this one.
Oh yeah, I know.
Chime in. It's not what it seems.
Oh, I need to unmute it.
It orbits the planet approximately every 27 days, at a distance of 380,000 kilometers away. It is thought to have originated around 4.5 billion years ago, formed from the debris produced in a collision between the Earth and an object the size of Mars. In total, 12 people have walked on the Moon in various missions between 1969 and 1972. But there is a widespread popular conspiracy theory that the US staged these expeditions in a film studio, and mankind has never actually been to the Moon. However, some theorists go one step further, presenting the notion that not only the moon landings were faked, but the moon itself is fake too. Instead, they argue, it is a hologram projected by a conspiring government alliance.
Okay, so here's another instance where you should ask yourself, what's the advantage of this being true? Like, why would you lie about this?
But could there possibly be any truth in this? Is there any chance that the moon as we know it doesn't even exist?
Whoa, that could be a problem.
What?
In 2013, YouTube user Crow777 began posting a series of videos, which he claims show proof that the moon is not what it seems.
Because we all know YouTube is the legit source of scientific research.
For over a year of observation, Crow filmed what he called lunar waves, which look like ripples passing across the surface of the moon. According to Crow, these waves demonstrate that the moon is a hologram. He says that the ripples are actually power glitches in an artificial electrical system. He further asserts that he has been contacted by 3 individuals who are supposedly privy to classified information and were able to confirm his suspicions. And Crow777 is not alone in his beliefs. Prominent conspiracy theorist and outspoken broadcaster David Icke argues that humanity should not be tricked into believing the moon exists just because figures of authority have said that it does.
Okay, that's something legit. So, yeah, there's something to be said about challenging authority, and that can be a fallacy, but one thing that a lot of people, especially of this bent, will say, so like there's a fallacy which is called appeal to authority, but it's actually split in 2 different ways. It's relevant authority or irrelevant authority. So like that's the divide between like, okay, here's a bunch of experts, just from abduction and then, from chance. So I guess it's kind of induction as well, reasoning. You should probably go with that, that conclusion. But if it's irrelevant, like they'll sometimes you'll see it where like someone will win the Nobel Prize for like economics, and then some news organization or whatever will ask them like, what do you think about I don't know, some totally irrelevant field to economics? It's like, why? Stop that. Like if you're an ethical person at all and you're the recipient of that award, you will shut your mouth. Anyway.
Ike strongly advocates the idea that the moon is not a natural body, stating on his website that it is instead a control system, manipulating our sense of reality to make us the slave race of those who are doing it. Dave Johnson, another YouTuber, claims to have discovered and filmed an unlisted satellite that constitutes the heart of this conspiracy. He believes that satellites such as this make up an international network of projection points from which the hologram is transmitted. However, a significant problem with the...
All right, hold up. So if that's the case, that would be really difficult with the rotation or revolution of the Earth.
But the Earth's flat. How is the flat Earth going to spin, Ricky?
No, there you go.
Yeah, that's how we reconcile this. They turn to the flat earthers and goes, all right, you guys have got it when it comes to the rotation shit. We've got it when it comes to the hologram.
Also, you do know we have several satellites in orbit around the Earth, right?
That is operated by the deep space, or not deep space, deep state. See, I'm used to saying deep space because science, and not deep state because I don't do conspiracy shit. Freudian slip.
If you're talking about the NRO, then yes, but it's not a conspiracy.
NRO? What is that? No, you stop. What is NRO?
It's the National Reconnaissance Office. It's an arm of the intelligence community in the United States.
Oh, intelligence. Okay, yeah. If it's part of the intelligence stuff, then I'm pretty sure that it's going to be.
The vast majority of satellites for like reconnaissance stuff.
Moon theory is that documents and images referring to the moon predate the development of holography in the 1940s. Theorists argue that these sources could have been falsified, misinterpreted, or retrospectively altered by perpetrators, and the moon never really existed before the 20th century. Alternatively, an adapted version of the theory says the moon previously did exist, but has now been replaced or hidden by the more recent creation of a holographic version. David Icke offers a variety.
Oh, he found us again. He found us. Good God.
Of explanations for the...
I have a conspiracy theory. Okay, so Waski just asked both of us if either of us hold any conspiracy theories. Like, is there anything that I guess we would entertain? Myself? I think he and I have had this conversation before, but obviously you people haven't heard it. I don't think... My husband, he's in the chat. I asked if the Peanut Gallery had any questions from the Peanut Gallery, and he asked both of us. He said, "Do either of you hold a conspiracy theory?" He also followed that up with, "Tell me so I can chuckle." I don't think I have anything that would be like conspiracy theory. No, he didn't. Okay, so he's talking about low frequency weapons and stuff in the chat. The only thing I could possibly, and this is very, very, very small, is like that there may be technology happening that we don't know about.
Right. But
I don't think... Oh, God, there he goes with it. He's triggering me right now because he knows this shit freaks me out. It's the little things that they let loose on the population, like the little nano things, and they're supposedly get in your blood and stuff like that. I don't think they're released on the population. I think that it's a possibility that technology could be real, or it could be in the process of being real.
You mean like a testing type thing?
I think it is. Well, these things are supposedly like little nanobots that go in and I think they're supposedly they treat things or they go in and they find things or patch things up like instead of doing heart surgery. Now I know I know these
They're
little
working on those, but I don't think there's any in actual production yet.
exactly. Well, there is a whole conspiracy thing where the chemtrails, little tiny robots are dropped from the chemtrails and they work their way into people's skin and then that's how they're tested and then they pop back out through the skin and just and that's how the researchers get their material back and shit like that because they go to the hospital to get this. It looks like a tiny piece of plastic that comes out of your skin, supposedly, like a wormish looking thing.
I seriously believe I saw this on the X-Files once, like when in the 90s.
Probably. Well, there's a lot of things that were on the X-Files that are like coming to fruition.
Great show, by the way.
Except I've never seen it. Like I've seen the clips and stuff on the internet and all that.
I watched a single episode of that when it came out.
I can't go that nerdy. I like fantasy, but I'm not really a sci-fi person. It just freaks me out too much.
I'm not really into sci-fi too much, but it probably didn't help that I had like a giant crush on Scully. So, Gillian Anderson.
My husband has been apparently turned into a cyborg. He said they could be in me. I might not be me, Kari. You creep, cut it out. Come home and I'm gonna scan you.
So like I don't hold any conspiracy theories, but there are some things that I've wondered that like could be the case, but I'm mentally stable enough that I don't take it as far as like it's true.
Yeah, there you go.
It. Oh, by the way, okay, so you know how I was talking about the National Reconnaissance Office earlier?
Mm-hmm.
So occasionally you'll find conspiracy theorists that tie that into things, and I'll show you why. If you can screen share, pull up a Google image search, like images.google.com.
Yeah.
And then just type in NRO mission logos and look what comes up. And you'll see why this is so easily. These are legit patches that they get for their missions.
What is it
These
called?
People are just type in NRO mission logos.
Mission logos.
Like in the images section. Not all.
Yeah. Mission logos. It says the URL doesn't refer to an image or the image is not publicly accessible.
Here, I'll throw you the link through Twitter.
Okay. Sometimes my Google can be weird because I'm in the UK, so.
So when you see these logos and phrases for the missions, you'll see why conspiracy theorists love them. And these are legit.
My daughter just sent me a picture of. She did it faster than I did. Thanks, Grace. Okay, I see. I see them. I see them. I'll pull it. I'll do a screen share of it too, so everybody else can see it.
Okay, great.
Let me do Skype screen share first.
The Atlas V one's my favorite, the purple one. But 39 is one that they love to go for their conspiracies.
It's not gonna let me share on Skype because I can't figure it out. But I will I'll screen share it on OBS real quick. So you'll have to look at the live feed.
Okay, I'll pull it up on
Okay. There we go. Oh, I like the one in the purple dress.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
So see the one that's the mission number is 39 with the octopus?
Yeah. Far left.
That's the one.
Far left people over here. Far left.
Look at the logo or the slogan for the mission underneath too.
Nothing is beyond our reach.
And it's like encompassing the globe.
Yeah.
Can you see how that is? Or like the one see the group of 4, do you have that one? The one in the upper left has the Illuminati sort of eye in the pyramid type thing going on there.
Yeah, it's in the middle. It has like a 3-headed phoenix, it looks like.
Yeah. Hold on.
Top in the middle.
Yeah, it's yeah. It's upper left in the little cluster of 4 that's to the right of the Viking-looking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, these are all like legit logos and patches that they have for all their missions.
Mm-hmm.
And conspiracy theorists love these when they talk about like the New World Order stuff. You could see why. It's like they're just having fun, but whatever.
I mean, the military.
So
the military has these as well. So. But
yeah. So this is a wing of the
state as
intelligence
well
community.
too.
What's that?
I said the military's deep state as well too, I suppose.
Well, especially military intelligence, right?
Yeah.
So these guys are cool. I love these guys, just as a side note. But yeah, you can see why these could be something to freak out over if you easily buy into that stuff.
Yeah, I just see it and I'm like,
Anyway.
ooh, I want to hear the stories about what's going on with these. What's going on with these patches? That's all it makes me think. It's like, ooh, I need to know this.
Between these guys and DARPA, and then the successor in a way is IRPA. They're basically mad scientists. they're high risk, high payoff investments in things you can come up with that are branches of the government. They love looking at those as well. So the internet actually came from DARPA. It was a DARPA project.
Oh.
Yeah. So there you go.
Well, the internet was made by the government, so it's bad.
Yeah, it was initially a military thing, and then there was 2 universities involved. I think it was Berkeley and MIT, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It was just designed initially for the internet or for the different branches of the military and everything to talk to each other.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I just started the animation again all over. So I turned the sound effects up, and I've turned everything on, so we can go ahead and get the full effect while we're watching this stupid video about the moon being a hologram. Because I'll wrap us up here shortly. Let's finish this out. It doesn't have very much longer, and then we'll start to tie things up.
Mike's got a Donald Trump face going on there. Just saying.
He does. He needs to poke his lips out a little bit more. And that hair. Why does his wife let him leave the house with that hair like that?
Purpose of this elaborate hoax. He suggests that the hologram could be part of global Illuminati interference. By tricking the entire world into believing in a moon that doesn't really exist, the secret society of elites would demonstrate its ultimate control over the spread of knowledge. Moreover, the Illuminati would be able to benefit from financial investment in redundant moon research, such as the $110 billion that was allegedly spent on the Apollo missions.
Wait, so they're saying that they're having to justify giving themselves their own money? What? Like, why wouldn't they just keep it? Why would they pretend to spend it on something and then not actually do it? Just keep it.
Alternatively, if the idea of a hologram hiding the actual moon were true, it would provide elite scientists with the opportunity to experiment on the natural satellite without public realization. The real moon could have been drastically altered, destroyed, or even colonized by alien life forms without our knowledge, with a hologram conventionally.
But how? Okay. That is never. They never explain the how part. Like, how could it have been destroyed? But not including human. Like, of course, there could be an asteroid or a comet or something could happen to it, a freak accident in space or whatever. Obviously, we get that. But why would humans want to destroy the moon?
Well, that and the fact that it's so close that it would just pull whatever's left of it into the Earth.
I know.
But
and that would that would affect us. We should at least have some damage. If the moon was destroyed, we should have some damage from that, at least at this point.
Oh yeah, no, it would ruin Earth. Like, even if it didn't hit people, it would just it would destroy the atmosphere to the point where no sun would get in.
Yeah.
But so they just made the claim that, what was it? Something about, so like they could go secretly work on their giant satellite. Like, that's why. Like, what's the harm in like telling the public that you want to go work on this giant satellite? Like, why do you need to make that up? Why don't you just go, hey, this is a giant satellite, we're going to go work on it? Like, who would care? Whatever.
Hiding the truth. There are numerous flaws with the conjecture that the moon is a hologram, not least that the theory doesn't offer an alternative explanation for tidal forces, which physicists say are produced by the moon's gravity affecting the Earth. What is difficult is that believers in the idea are reluctant to accept arguments against it, saying that evidence proving the moon's existence is insufficient. They do not believe the assertions of astronauts such as Neil Armstrong or Buzz Aldrin, and think government elites are manipulating scientific experts to spread their lies. The website revisionism.nl, run by theorists known only as the Mad Revisionist, has offered a $100,000 prize to anyone who can undeniably prove that the moon is real. So far, the reward remains unclaimed.
This is Major Sam to Mother Factors Control.
What?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Unbelievable.
Like, the entire thing can just be undercut by saying why.
Okay, so do you? I had one more request. The Mandela effect. Do you want to hop? You want to hop on that one too?
Yeah, I'm down for whatever. Go for it.
Mandela. Okay. Have you been watching the animation? Can you hear the sound effects?
I occasionally open up the tab, but I usually like keep it closed because it interferes with our audio.
Watch it for just a second while I'm pulling up the Mandela effect. Dude, it's not right. His brain is bent for sure. Okay, one more, then we'll wrap it up.
Hey, it's my handle.
Mm-hmm. I have the Mandela effect in there already.
Like Nelson Mandela?
Yeah, Nelson Mandela.
Or Mandala. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it's Mandela, right? It may be said Mandala as well. I'm saying like Nelson Mandela. I just say it weird. I have a weird accent. Are you judging me?
No. It's a similar sounding word.
Okay. Mandela effect examples.
I'm a Southerner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to.
Oh God, that is awful. Oh God, that sound effect is awesome. Oh, it's good and it's so bad. And now she's gonna.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so can you see this the screen? Did you see the animation that just happened on the screen?
The explosion?
Yeah. Do you know what that was?
What?
That was a fat feminist eating herself to death.
Was it Trigglypuff?
I don't know what it was. That's an actual picture of a woman sitting.
Oh, really?
Sitting in. Yeah, that's an actual picture of an actual woman. That's her back. Can you see? Just look down. Look when it comes back up again. Just look at it, and you'll see it's a back, and it has a ponytail.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Okay, let me mute this, and I will get this going.
Right.
Let's see. All right. I'm gonna go back. Turn that off. Okay. All right, Grace. I hope you're paying attention.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I want to ask you a very simple question, and would like you to use the video polls on the right-hand side of this video to answer it. When did Nelson Mandela, the former president of South Africa, die? Was it whilst incarcerated in prison many years ago, or was it just recently at the end of 2013? If you said it was in prison, then you're wrong, but don't feel silly because you'll not have been the only one to have said that, and that is down to something that has been all the talk lately, called the Mandela effect. It was first mentioned in 2010 by Fiona Broome, who was convinced Nelson Mandela had died in prison and was confused to find out that he was still alive and well at the time. She didn't think much of it until overhearing a conversation sometime later of people sharing similar thoughts that Mandela died in prison and that they remember his funeral vividly on TV. After this, she came up with something called the Mandela effect, which basically means an event that someone, more importantly a large group of people, usually in the millions, are convinced something took place that in reality never happened or was considerably different to how they remember it. After sharing this new perspective that no one had talked about before online, people could relate, and more examples of the Mandela effect began to surface. I will talk about a few, then go into an explanation of why this could be happening that will most likely blow your mind. I will also be using the polls for some of these examples to gauge how everyone's views are different, so just click on the icon on the top right hand corner of this video to take part. Now the thing with this Mandela effect is that it's easy for anyone to say that I remember it that way, but how can we know if they are telling the truth? Well, thankfully, there are many videos that will help back up people's beliefs. And strangely, The Simpsons can be used as a reference in almost all of the most common Mandela effect examples, which I'll be showing. I don't know why it happens so much in The Simpsons, or what this could mean, but it's the best way to prove this is not just a theory or someone making stuff up. This is real. For starters, picture the assassination of John F. Kennedy in 1963. How many people were in the car? Was it 4? Well, if like most, you said yes, and why wouldn't you? There were pictures of a 4-seater car even in the Time magazine relating to JFK's death, and even a documentary exploring the Oswald conspiracy, which surely would have wanted to get everything perfect to replicate that day, used a 4-seater car. But there were actually 6 people in the car that day. And the people who support the theory that the driver shot Kennedy are in disbelief that there were 2 people in between Kennedy and the driver, dismissed.
Oh no, I remember that. I remember that there was 2 more people in there besides them and the drivers. I did remember that. Most people just don't pay attention to it because they're more focused on trying to see JFK's skull being exploded. So you point it out to them, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, it's like the FedEx. It's like the FedEx trucks. If you look at the FedEx symbol, you'll see an arrow.
Oh yeah.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it."
Oh yeah, no, it took me a while. I worked for them and didn't notice it for years.
Mm-hmm.
I had a high school teacher who was absolutely obsessed in a conspiratorial way with the JFK assassination.
There's a lot of people that try to figure that out, and it is pretty interesting to sit and listen to people talk about it and try to figure it out and all that, and it's kind of scary in a way. That was
just as sort of like a humorous side note. I thought it was funny is we were watching the assassination film, the Zapruder film or whatever, and they had that, they do that pause frame where Jackie O is like leaning over the hood or the trunk.
Yeah, trying to get out.
Yeah, well, I think she's like picking up his head or something like that, like pieces of it. But anyway, we were watching that part, and the conspiracy teacher or whatever paused it like right at an angle where her ass is like sticking way up in the air, and this girl that I was friends with leans over to me and goes, "Dad ass," but she said it too loud.
Oh no.
She definitely got a detention for that one.
Good God.
Yeah.
Missing that long talked about theory entirely. Next up, do you remember the famous line, "That's not a knife, this is a knife"?
Of course.
This is a knife. This is a knife.
Well, that didn't happen. It was actually this.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
But the reason the majority of us think is the first one is the Mandela effect. Now, this one got me pretty good. How do you spell Rubik's Cube? If, like me, you thought it was like this, then you're wrong. It's actually spelled with a K and not an S.
Because I can read.
Again, visualize a picture of Mickey Mouse right now. How does he look? Big ears, red suspenders, and yellow shoes. Well, he actually never had suspenders and only wears high-waisted shorts. Now, the most famous and common example of the Mandela effect is from Star Wars. where most remember the famous line, even the actor who played Darth Vader
Yep,
in an
I'm
interview,
guilty of this one.
Luke, I am your father.
But I've never seen the movie.
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
No, I know about
But
this
he never
one.
said that. He said this.
No, I am your father.
Speaking of Star Wars, many remember C-3PO being all gold, including of course the Simpsons, but he actually had a silver leg. Other things that you possibly thought you remembered, but are slightly different, include the thought that Billy Graham was dead, but he isn't. The interview with a vampire being called that, which is actually called...
Billy Graham just looks like he should have been dead like 30 years ago. That's all that is. People can't help that. He's an actual zombie.
Interview with the vampire. The vision of the Monopoly man, rich Uncle Pennybags, having a monocle, which even I always envisioned him, but he doesn't. The thought that in the movie Jaws...
I think he has it in different pictures.
Well, they're
in the
thinking
game.
about the peanut guy. You know the Planner's peanut guy?
Oh.
That has the hat
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff? He has
Yeah.
a that thing, that glass eye thing. Monocle.
He said, we're going to need a bigger boat. However, the line is...
You're gonna need a bigger boat. You're gonna need a bigger boat.
But that's just one word off.
Yeah, and it's kind of, the audio's kind of muffled.
The famous quote from Snow White, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?
Yeah, that's not right.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the baldest of them all?
Mirror, mirror. See that? Mirror, mirror. Again, this is...
Ooh, did you see that nasty spot on that page of that book?
Yeah, I was going to try and not guess what that was.
Ew!
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
The Volkswagen logo does have a line through it, and the comedian Sinbad did not play a genie movie, which there are a huge amount of people who say they remember him in a genie film in the 1990s. There are also stories of people seeing things on the news, then days later seeing exactly the same thing, and are certain something unexplainable is going on. So where is all this going? And isn't this just a case of bad memories? Or in some cases, the fact that companies have subtly changed things without notifying us? Well, all of those are a possibility,
Why would they
but there's a
notify
much more
us?
interesting theory, and here it goes. Some believe that the Mandela effect is proof that parallel universes exist,
Oh,
and
man.
that we alternate between them.
Yeah, that's
Now,
a
this
hell
may
of a
seem hard to
leap.
take in.
Companies change their names. Companies change things on products. Therefore, another universe.
Okay, first of all, why would they? Because they were like, they don't alert us. Like, why would they do that? And then all of a sudden it's, yeah, that's a hell of a leap. Yeah, whatever.
Oh my god.
But there are people out there that feel more in tuned into the reality around them, and believe they have tapped into an alternate universe.
Okay, I have to say something about
drugs.
this.
That's
This
'cause
is
of
actually
drugs.
pretty fun. So I can actually do this on command.
Oh god. What? Tell me.
But all it is, it's not this like spooky crap that that they want to believe it is. All it is your ability to sort of let one part of your brain fall asleep and other parts stay awake. And so it messes with your sleep paralysis and some of your others, like sense data interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll remember, for example, so like it's very common for people to say, oh, I was floating above my body and looking down on it. Yeah. I've done that. But the reason it works is because I know what the room and myself look like. So my brain reconstructs that.
Yeah, I mean, you're just really getting into your imagination.
It's basically a combination of a lucid dream and the ability to hover on the edge of sleep and awake. Because so there's two stages of sort of this hallucination that you go through that's very brief when you're waking up and going to sleep. It's hypnagogic and hypnopompic are the names of them.
Okay.
And so that's what that is it's your ability to sort of hover on the edge like that, just through, you can do it if you practice well enough with extreme relaxation, and just if you go really slow that you'll eventually get to the point where you can do it, to just kind of stop and hover there.
Yeah,
And
that's
so,
like whenever you just doze off and someone makes a noise and it startles you, or it just all of a sudden wakes you up and you're just like, what's going on? What's going on? And you get all shaky and stuff.
Well, you'll get that too when you do that, because if there's any kind of like, there'll be like it sounds like a loud noise. Like it's kind of like it sounds like someone took like a ruler and smacked it on a wall or something.
Mm-hmm. I've been snapped out of sleep hearing that noise before, and there's been no noise.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So a lot of people will claim that that's like a sort of, that do this will claim that that's sort of like the signal that you're like popping into this other dimension or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really cool. It feels awesome if you can. But
that
it's nothing
is interesting.
spooky. And also just be aware, if you're practicing this, occasionally you can go into sort of the pseudo like sleep paralysis where you're awake but you can't move.
Oh.
And it might freak you out. Just saying. Just so you know.
That
if you're gonna
sounds
try
like fun.
Oh no, it's scary as hell.
And in the alternative universe, certain events mirror the universe we live in, but happen at different times, and are perhaps perceived in a different way.
Great. I know
For
what
most
conversation
people,
I'm going to be having
most
over
dominant
breakfast
memory
this
will
morning.
take over, and that is the one we remember. But those experiencing the Mandela effect are recalling things from the alternative universe, and become convinced that these memories are correct, despite evidence to the contrary. It's interesting, because there is some scientific evidence...
Is this how they're going to explain deja vu?
I don't know, but I can explain that. and
No,
there's a few
don't.
other-
No, don't. I don't want you to explain it. You're going to have a panic attack.
It's way more sensible than this.
Yeah,
nonsense.
I know. I've heard people talk about deja vu, but that's where I'm expecting these two to go, or this guy to go towards.
evidence to support this, and some of the brightest minds in science and physics believe it's entirely plausible that there is a parallel universe and that there is something more to the Mandela effect than just our bad memories. To put it simply, we have no idea what is going on around us, and I'm not saying the Mandela effect is people slipping into other dimensions, but everything we are surrounded by, life, death, space, and even time, is so complicated that our brains literally do not have the power to process what is happening or what the future holds. So although the thought that there is another universe that mirrors this one, or that there are so many different universes that eventually down the line one almost exactly replicates ours sounds impossible, so did a lot of things that we now know are true but never thought were. If you ask me, Forrest Gump had it right. Life really is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Well, life is like a box of chocolates. Mom, you never know.
Yeah, really.
But wait.
Bart is right.
He didn't actually say that, did he?
Yeah, so I was going to say that's what
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates.
Was.
Was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
I've been to that bench before and seen it and sat on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That sounds so
I
vain.
think he's just being grammatically correct. Like, that should be obvious what the word is.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's in a movie.
Well, are you ready to wrap this up now?
Well, I had some stuff I wanted to say about what claims there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, okay. So first, deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
All deja vu is when you like the synapses in your brain basically stutter.
Okay.
So they double fire. So you really are thinking something for at least the second time, if not more, which is why it seems. So you get that effect. So it's just really fast. So, how things will give you that sensation of being familiar. That's why.
Yeah.
So you've already thought about it, and then immeasurably, practically faster, you're thinking about it again. It's just a misfire.
Okay.
So you really are thinking about things at least twice, and that's why it feels like you've seen them before. But as far as the claims of sort of how we're like missing things or misinterpreting things. That's just because when we don't fully perceive things, our brain fills in the sort of missing parts to make sense of it.
Yep.
It's kind of plays back into that whole pattern thing. One really cool way you can do this, so to get a friend and a package of like markers or colored pencils, something like that, where they're different colors, and have your friend stand, in front of you, and you close your eyes, have your friend mix up the colors, and then hold out, like in a row, the colors in their hand, but like hold them way out to the side, like their arm is parallel,
Mm-hmm.
and then have them tell you to open your eyes and look only at their face and see if they can tell you the colors in order. And just try that, and you'll see it. It's a great example.
I'll have to try that.
You won't be able to. Your brain will make it up and get it wrong. It'll. Anyway.
Well, that's interesting to know. I knew it was when it came to deja vu that it was something about you've done something before and there's just something about the situation that's triggering a memory, and you're trying to process that at the same time as what you're actually experiencing at the moment. So I knew it was. I kind of compared it to like a brain hiccup.
Yeah, so you really are experiencing it at least twice. That's why it feels familiar. It's not disingenuous or an error that you haven't experienced. That you haven't experienced it more than once. You really have.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so fast you can't tell.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we covered the crazy tonight, and Gracie got some some requests put in. So the last two were totally her. So there you go. Two things that you definitely that you wanted to check out. Thanks, Gracie. I appreciate it. So we're gonna say goodnight. Say goodnight, Ricky. Tell everybody goodnight.
Good night, Litter. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. Not sure what we're going to be doing on Thursday just yet. We're still trying to get into the groove of things, working things out, just playing with a few things when it comes to the graphics and setting Ricky up with a avatar that he's comfortable with and all that good stuff. So you may see a few things going this way and then it'll change to this, and we'll get there pretty soon, hopefully. So, but thanks for hanging out. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you on Thursdays, hopefully with something fun to talk about. I'm sure it'll be some crazy shit as usual. All right, good night, everybody. Gonna send you out with some music. Night, baby.
Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now. I'm a ghost, I call your name, you look right through me. You're the reason I'm alone and masturbate. Hey! I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken. No, Was the knight in shining armor in your movie? Would put your lips on mine and love the aftertaste now. I'm a ghost, I call your name, you look right through me. You're the reason I'm alone and masturbate. Hey! I've been trying to fix my pride, but that shit's broken. That shit's broken.